Okay, right. Our recording is now on, folks. So, hi, my name is Charlie, and I am the project lead on Pathfinders and Skills for Care project, our project funded by Skills for Care. And I've been a PA employer for 16 years. And I personally like a family atmosphere between me and my PAs. And I know that not everyone likes that. Some people like more formal dynamics with their PAs, and that works really
Mhm.
well. I think the most important thing I want to say is we're all different, so what we want from our teams are different, and that then means that not all of this will be helpful for you, but hopefully some of it will be. Right. Now then. Helen, please can you let me know if my speech is running over 10 minutes?
Yep, okay, will do.
Okie dokie. So the techniques I'm going to talk about are based on my own experience and the things I want and the way I choose to run my care and the things I want from my care. Every employer is different, and some people like more formal relationships with their PAs. I personally don't have a lot of family members. And when I was younger and I started having care outside of my mum, I didn't like the very clinical, institutional dynamic it brought into my home. Now, don't get me wrong, not all organisations do that. It was just my experience with the organisations in my area that I was, and the agencies and things like that. And so I just really, really hated that. It made me feel, I don't know if this is going to resonate with anyone, but it made me feel more disabled. Like it made me feel like I was in an institution, that everything was very clinical, everything was very rigid, and it just didn't make my home feel like my home anymore. So, as I've employed PAs, and as my sort of skills as an employer have grown, I just made a firm decision that I like a less formal relationship with my PAs. I like it to be a more family atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, I still have boundaries, and I do believe you can have both. You can have boundaries and create a working relationship with your PAs, but for me, I can still have it a family atmosphere. One of the most important foundations for good staff retention is consistent open communication. I hold supervision meetings every 3 to 4 months with the help of my team leader. Supervision is a valuable space for me and my PAs to talk through any changes in my care, how they're feeling, if there's anything going on in their life that might be affecting their work. For example, if they're late regularly and maybe there's something's happened in their personal life that gives a good reason for that. We also discuss any qualifications or any training they feel they need if for whatever reason, if my needs have changed, or if I they just feel that they feel less confident about a particular task, they can talk about that, and then we can arrange training accordingly. I also send reminder emails on the regular. Now, my reminder emails are the kind of things that, let's be honest, we've got a lot of things to remember in our lives, but so have our PAs. And sometimes my PAs forget small things. And by that, I mean maybe certain household chores or things like that, that I can just send a gentle reminder to just say, hi, everyone, you're all doing a good job, but please could you be mindful that these jobs are getting forgotten. Those reminder emails are just really quick ways to not just remind them, but to highlight anything that it needs changing. And it also teaches my PAs what is expected of them. It regularly reinforces what their job role is and what I expect from them. And that just makes everything really clear and takes away that, along with supervisions, takes away any confusion or any sort of animosity that might be building, and they're the sort of things that potentially can lead to no longer having that member on your team for whatever reason. On top of that, I do regular check-ins. So I just casually, depending on what we're doing, will just touch base with my PAs, ask them what's going on, um, how are they, is there anything that they want to chat about. It also gives them the same, they then do the same with me. And by having different ways of touching base, it meets different people's needs. My PAs are all different people, and so therefore how they need the type of communication style they have is different. And by doing all of these three different things, it allows us to keep that communication open, which means we're able to resolve any issues that might be arising, which then by default keeps everyone happy and then improves staff retention. That's my theory on it anyway. Now, the next little bit I'm about to say, again, I know this is very niche to me because I like a very relaxed atmosphere, but still have boundaries. It still is a working relationship. So the next few things might not resonate with everyone, but I organise team bonding activities. These help build real relationships and support one another, boosting morale and improving mental health for all of us. We celebrate special events like Christmas or we do Galentine's and things like that. And we do Secret Santa and all those silly little things. And they may not sound like things that are important to staff retention, but by boosting morale and creating that team atmosphere, it helps my PAs be more willing to help each other. So, for example, my PAs don't only double up rarely. They do on occasion, but rarely. So, by doing these activities and boosting morale and creating their bond as team members as well as us as a united team, it is a good way to remember the good things. For example, if we're poorly for a long time, the PA's job can get quite intense, at certain times, and having these activities just splits up the intensity that might be going on for whatever reason. And it just allows for some laughter. That creates a lot more happiness between the team, and that also helps with staff retention, at least for me anyway. It strengthens connection as well. And I've noticed that my PAs are willing to go the extra mile for each other more when they have that connection. And when you have a team working as a team, everyone does their bit, everyone helps out. That in itself helps with staff retention. Because the most important thing to remember is it isn't just, well, for some people it might be one PA but in my case, it's a group of PAs. And by creating that team and that boost of morale and creating strong bonds, that has enabled us to grow. And that then creates better staff retention. I think that sometimes when we lose that sense of team, we can become quite like PAs can sometimes feel like they're lone workers, that they're all alone, that everything's on them. But by creating that team atmosphere and by doing those fun activities, you just create a stronger sense of team, and that just promotes positivity within us. It also reminds us that sometimes jobs are hard, sometimes their job will be hard, but it isn't always all of the time hard. Another lesson I've learned is to pick my battles and allow space for minor mistakes. We all make them. I make them. We do as humans. That is what human beings are. We make mistakes, we learn from them. A bit of patience creates mutual trust and a willingness for everyone to try their best. I'm honest with my team and let them know when I can't complete certain tasks or when I need rest because they need their rest. They require their days off from the job. I let them know when I need mine, when I need some space, because that again creates boundaries so they know exactly what I'm asking of them, what's expected of them. And it reminds them that I'm not a robot, and just like they aren't, I'm not. And that again boosts morale and creates understanding between all of us. And I've found that it tends to grow the positive working relationship. And it also takes the pressure off everyone. Like when we can all sit there and acknowledge, I acknowledge they have a hard job, they acknowledge I do. That just makes us feel a lot happier and it makes us feel appreciated and seen. And all of those things, although they may not sound like they're important for a staff retention, it's one big picture. They're all little factors, and when you put them together, they create stronger staff retention and they build that picture. Now, don't get me wrong, other employers may not do these things or may do different things, and that's absolutely fine because we are all individual, as is our teams, whether you have one PA or 50. We're all unique. Our needs are unique. Therefore, our PA's job roles are unique. So, by all means, I'm not saying any of this is what you have to do because this is the only way. It's absolutely not. This is just one way that I found helpful. Ultimately, good staff retention comes from being willing to adapt and grow. You can change how you run your care as many times as you need to. Let your PAs share suggestions, but remember, just because you listen to their suggestion doesn't mean you have to take it. But I find even if my PAs, if they make a suggestion and I don't take it, by listening to them, that makes them feel seen. And then that also makes them feel happy within their job role. What matters most is building strong communication, a sense of respect, an ability to understand that we will all continue to grow together as the years go by. And that's the most important thing that I instill in my girls is everything will change. The way I do things now, the way my care needs are now, their needs now, they'll change in a year, 2 years, 6 months. It's a growing thing that's constantly evolving and constantly adapting. I'm always adding new ways to improve the job role. By improving the job role, I then promote staff retention by giving I employ people that like the family atmosphere and they find that when they're having a tough time, if I'm really poorly or the job's just intense for whatever reason, by having those lighter moments, it reminds them that this can be a fun job as well as an important job, as well as a serious job. Um, I know I'm from a lot of employers that I speak to and a lot of my friends, I'm very niche in the way I do things. But for my team, it works really well. I've been doing the team bonding thing and they do the Secret Santa between themselves and they do the birthday thing between themselves. Um, and they like that. They like feeling like a team because for them it takes the pressure off them, and it enables a more positive environment.
Hmm. Okay, Charlie,
Yes,
we've got to the time you wanted.
fabulous.
It is fabulous if you've got more you want to add.
Nope, that is
Go for
me.
it.
I will turn off the recording now, everyone.